you end up just loving it. You end up loving just doing it just to do it. Like really, when I've been thinking this way recently, and it's just like it actually makes me like the best I can be when I'm thinking this way. Yesterday, I did like 5 back-to-back like coaching calls, and every time I was gonna be like, oh no, it's fine. Oh no, it's fine. I thought this way. Like I took an infinite source of energy, and I was like, look, I might be tired, but I know that if I give my best on the other side, I will feel so much better. There's not even a point. Like this guy already paid me. I could just say I'll do it tomorrow. But straight up, that's when you really reach the level of something greater. And yeah, okay, maybe not all you guys are working on something like that right now, but find ways you can give that meaning. That is really like, that's more than a life worth living. That's a whole different story. I mean, you see how I'm acting right now. This is not even like motivation. Okay, this is something different. So really trying to shock you for change within yourself, because the whole goal with things like that is it's not me trying to say you should do this. It's you telling yourself, like putting your mind in a position where it's like, this is what I should do. Okay. So, should I give this activity? Maybe that kind of replaced the activity, but really, if you guys are still trying to think like what is maybe the thing for me, like do I need answers? Some of you guys don't even need answers, but it's normal. Like 99.9% of people like try to search for answers for everything. Like if you got your financial life in place, you still got questions in terms of this or that, or you might even be thinking that you're like perfectly fine. But what if you could just get the answer? Like what if you think you're fine, but you're still missing the answer? You never know. Just, it does not hurt. I want you guys in the next, by Sunday night, plan out a day. Like it doesn't have to be the full day, but some good portion of the day, wherever you guys are based out of, where you go to a, so you go to, if you guys are by the forest, maybe go to the forest, like go to the highest frequency place you can go to. I did this in Malibu. I drove down to Malibu. I was in front of, some nice, like not like the wild part of Malibu, but in front of some nice like $50 million houses. Grant Cardone's house, literally like right there. Carbon Beach, it's called like Billionaires Beach. Very nice, but it was just so beautiful, and I did it there, and I did this moment there, and it's basically, it was just me and the ocean. I wasn't facing the houses, but it was just about me and like the infinite whatever. So whatever's one of the highest frequency places you guys have access to, we don't have to fly anywhere. It doesn't have to be that crazy. I want you to go there, and I want you to don't really put a time on it, but I want you to just make it a mission to go there and not meditate, not this, not that, whatever, but go there and really be like, with the intention of, I'm going to get something really good out of this. Like I'm just going to talk. I'm just going to talk to God, or talk to a higher power, or talk to the universe, or whatever. Like I'm going to get some answer. It's going to happen. I guarantee you, all you guys will get something really good. All you guys will get something really good. I didn't come up with this idea. I literally heard this that same day. I stopped everything I was doing when I did it, and it was the best decision. Okay, on the same day. So if you guys do it tomorrow, maybe that's fine. Maybe it's Halloween, whatever. Do it another day, but it will be fantastic for all you guys. Okay, so go there and straight up just place the input of, like, you actually have to plant the target in your mind, so you have the intention of why you're going there, and essentially just like place the input of like, I'm gonna get an answer right now, and then go and basically see what comes to mind. So have an empty mind, have an open mind, like accept that bad or whatever thoughts or whatever might come, like, but you'll be in a high frequency place, so that's not gonna happen, right? Playing music on the way there, feel good, like you're not gonna have negative thoughts. Okay, so let things come. Let things come. Now, every kind of thing that your mind ends up formulating, like really make sure that you tap into like something higher. If you guys meditate, if some of you guys know how to meditate well, maybe meditate right before this. So like you're really on like a higher level. Because if you're going there in a bad mood, you're just gonna tap into bad thoughts. It's stupid. Okay. So when you get that, I want you to kind of test out, be super open, but still test out everything. I'm not saying like whatever comes to your head, do it. Like test out everything. This is when you're actually like, this is when you're actually tapping into the things that your mind like doesn't normally tap into. Like you just kind of go by it and nothing happens. Okay, so tap into whatever ideas come. Maybe you have an idea for what you should do with this person. Maybe you hear exactly what you needed to hear with something that was bothering you, family member bothering you. You hear exactly the advice for that. On and on, and like it can be anything related to you. You're gonna hear some stuff, and this is how you're gonna test out if it's something you should do, if it's something correct, or if it's just like, oh, it's doesn't hold good power to me. It's not beneficial. All right, so really, okay, whenever you get this thought, think about it, and just like use your intuition. Like, do you feel some resistance to it? Do you feel like, do you feel a little bit like, nah, that's not it? Then it won't be it. But if you hold it and there's a sense of alignment to it, you're like, oh shit, that's a good idea. Then right now, like, remember it, get a couple more, and then write them all down. Like when you're done, write them all down. Right there, like you just got the best mentor speaking to you. You literally got the best mentor speaking to you. It's like if you had your future self. It's like if you had the most successful person in the world, or once again, a higher power. It's like you had this mentor speaking to you. I mean, people pay like millions of dollars, like as much money as they can to like learn things. Like, what if you can tap into the number one mentor in the entire world? That's not wrong. There's no way this person's wrong. Okay, so get the input at that high frequency and then test it out. If the match is right, you just got infinite knowledge. Like you just got golden knowledge. Okay, so basically, just write down. Just make sure that you make it a thing that you guys do it in like this week. Like do it this week. Like by next week, 2 weeks, like you'll forget it. Do it ASAP. Okay, so I just hooked you up with the best mentor. That's a good connection right there. All right, so yeah. Does anyone have any questions on that? Does anyone have any? It doesn't mean like you're talking to a religious figure. Like you're talking to source. And if you want to see it as like, oh, like your highest self, then just see it as that. But the truth is, like literally the scientific truth is ideas and thoughts are waves. So if you're in a high frequency, then you'll get high frequency thoughts because your mind is tuning into those waves. Just like if you tune a radio, like you'll get the things that they're playing to match that radio tune. Okay, that's literally the truth. That's why if you're always in a high frequency, you'll get high frequency things. If you're in a frequency of money, like you hang out with a bunch of people doing well, and they're all talking about abundant things, then literally you'll leave that dinner with the most abundant ideas that you had before. Like it's not like a fake thing. So see it psychologically, see it scientifically, see it spiritually. It's all the truth. So Esteban, do we have to do that entering any scenario with our intuition, writing things down? Yes. Yeah, exactly. Everything you just said is true. I confirm everything you said is true. All right. So essentially yesterday I was talking with someone who is in a pretty good position overall outside. They've worked on themselves so much. Like they've worked on themselves more years than me or probably all you guys. But essentially his issue was he was going back home with certain people and being in certain environments, and he was getting a little bit infected. He was like, look, I realized that my internal paradigm kind of slipped. Like I'm not really at the level inside that I thought I was at, just because he has outside stuff. And when you change the environment, you really end up seeing that. So basically what I told him is I used the analogy of essentially his immune system in terms of like his inner paradigm. Let's just use the word immune system, is like not that strong in terms of taking in diseases. So let's say, people talking shit is a disease. Let's say you end up tomorrow having like a bunch of people around you talking shit. Like how likely are you to get infected? Are you going to be like, look, bro, I know this is bullshit. I know who I am. You know, it just has no power because you are actually confident and you know what the fuck's going on, right? If everybody was just lying. Or would that literally just destroy you? That means like you're, in this case, like the immune system, like the poison, right? People say affects you and you're not that strong in that sense. And essentially that's just like kind of confidence and insecurity. So I want you guys to think about this. Like any certain thing someone would say or someone else would say, like, what are some things right now? Like, think about it I'm gonna give you 10 seconds. Think about some things that maybe you go through yourself, you think about yourself, some scenarios you end up in, or some things people tell you that like kind of makes you like insecure, like kind of makes you like you just like don't like it. Like think about something like, oh shit, yeah, that's true, I do. It happens. It's everybody. Okay. So basically what that is it's not about right or wrong. It's not about this or that. It's a little bit of insecurity. And that's totally fine in some places. That's totally fine. But it's a little bit of insecurity. Just understand why. Okay, because you know, if someone, for example, was like, you know what, you're just like, you're a fat purple motherfucker. Like you're just not offended by it. But what if you were actually one of you guys were purple? You'd be like, what? You would not like, none of you guys are purple. You have zero identification with it. You're confident that you're not purple and you're confident that you're not fat. All right, so has zero power. But if you guys we're like, you know, 50% of fat purple dude, that would kind of sting. You know what I mean? So same like we want to, let's use it in terms of, that's like an identity, person identity example, but let's use it from a confidence example, a faith in yourself example. Okay. If you knew, like if literally you knew, like it was confirmed that you would be getting $100,000 wire next week, but for some reason today, like something popped up, like just some bullshit popped up, and then now you're like 50K in debt. Would you be like, you'd be confident that more is coming, so you'd be like, oh shit, like it's fine that I'm in this scenario, it's fine, like it'll be fine later. You're confident that you're gonna end up making it back because you know, okay. But if you didn't know that you were gonna end up making more money the next week, you'd be like, fuck, I'm in such a bad scenario. Like you would not stop thinking about what just happened that just made me 50K in debt. You'd just be like so consumed by it. You probably wouldn't be able to work, and you would kind of just fuck yourself over, and you would just be like, oh fuck, like you would just be done. Like you would just be in a downward spiral just automatically because of your lack of confidence, because of your lack of faith. Okay, so understand, maybe write down or think about some of those areas of life where you have a slightly bit lack of confidence. Like you're not that good in this. Someone tells you you're not that good in that. Like a girl tells you you're something and it like kind of pisses you off. You have that means that there's a degree of truth to it. Okay. So whatever those things are, here's a piece of sauce. Just work on it. Just work on it, because that's a little hole that you just don't really realize, and you just kind of cover it up. But if you work on it, you grow as a person. And here's the best part. If you're working on it, the status and the confidence instantly goes up. Like the faith in yourself instantly goes up. Nobody wants to take a fat pic. Nobody wants to take a before pic if they know there's not going to be an after pic. Ain't nobody who's going to post a picture like, look at me, like I'm fat as fuck or whatever, you know, like look at me, like this is me before. If they know that they're not starting, like they're on the journey to have another one. Like they're on the journey to have like a progressive picture. You know what I'm saying? Like if any of you guys, I'm just using fitness as an example because we're all dudes here and we all kind of understand the same thing. So if any of you guys are like 6% body fat, 10% body fat, but you drop down to 15, you're like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're just not as confident with it. Like you feel like something that it's like doesn't feel good. But if you're like to be honest, I don't know what the fat kind of body percentages are, but if you're like if you're like an overweight body percentage and you drop down 10%, even if it's still like over 20, 25, like you're still overweight. but you're in the progress of it. Like, it's like, I'm actively doing the right things that's going to make me lower tomorrow and next week. Dude, you're feeling so confident. You don't even care. So essentially, the sauce here is that you can tell if you're getting in the process, if you're currently in the process of something, you will be in a positive process of it, positive progression. You'll be confident. But if you're in a negative progression of something, you'll be insecure about it. Okay, so once again, that's another thing of how we can round out the holes, how we can grow ourselves as people in different areas. Okay, so really, really think about that. Like, where is that happening? Okay, so the key to confidence, that's the key to confidence. And in any other scenarios, like just yourself, like how can you build that? Yes, working on yourself is building it. I know a lot of you guys hear me talk about like building your identity, building your subconscious, because the way that this works is this is the self-image you have on yourself. So this is basically the truth. This is the frame. Like, this is the reality you see life through. Okay, so there's two ways that you do this. Okay, so one, you guys need to build rapport with yourself. And by the way, like, even if you're already confident, you're like, oh, I'm not insecure about, making money or whatever, then that's fine. Like, you can build more confidence in it, because what happens when you're more confident in it? You'll wake up like, boom, I'm about to kill it. And you're about to just smash through everything. You're about to dominate. The person who dominates is only the confident person. You can't dominate if you're 99%. You have to be 100% and through. Okay, so all you guys need to keep building essentially your identity and keep building rapport with yourself. What is rapport with yourself? It's basically keeping your word and staying true to it. You know what I'm saying? If someone kept on lying to you, you wouldn't really like them. You wouldn't really believe them. You'd be like, I'm not confident that you're gonna help me. If they just kept on lying to you, slapping you in the face, then next time they go for a handshake, you'll be like, bro, I don't like you. So a lot of people speak to themselves like that, right? So what if your friend was like, I want to do this? They do it. And what if your friend actually outdid things that they would tell you that they would do? You would be so confident that they're going to deliver. That's how you need to have, that's the self-talk, the self-communication you need to have. You know what I mean? So in everything you do, really focus on outdoing. I know you guys are a little bit in a more flow state right now, a little bit, more motivated probably right now because we're live, but make sure you keep that thought of like, I'm going to actually outdo. Like, right now, decide with yourself. That's an agreement with yourself. Like, tomorrow in the gym, do yourself a favor, outdo it. Like, whatever you normally do a little bit more. Like, there's no way you won't thank yourself. There's no way that's not going to be a positive thing. Or maybe in the work you were going to do, like different things you're going to do, like outdo it. Okay, tomorrow's Halloween. Like, whatever you guys are not going to have a special day. Like, do it, save it for another day, right? If you guys are going to go out tomorrow, maybe do something positive that you would do. I don't know, like talk to a little bit more people, like just be a little bit more confident, like do some things that you wouldn't have done. Build rapport with yourself, like shock yourself, like, oh shit, like he's actually that guy. That's going to build more trust in yourself, and that's confidence in yourself. Okay. And the other way you build identity is first 30 minutes of the day, last 30 minutes of the day, making sure that you're visualizing, making sure that you're writing affirmations, making sure that you're checking everything. You want me to my morning routines now, like so insane, but I don't have to go through all that, but just making sure you're doing that. Okay. Making sure you're seeing yourself in third person, making sure that you're tying everything together. Not just when you're thinking about your future goals, don't just think about your future goals. Like, oh, I'm in this place, I have this. Okay, what happens when you go back to your current state? Yeah, you'll be confident that you have some good things coming later, but you're going to be you're going to not be good in your current situation. What if in your visualizations, you actually tie in your best self with your current self and you mix them together? That's how you bring him here. Okay. So don't be confident that you will change. Be confident that you are that same person. It's all the same. It's the same life. I mean, look, right now I'm saying some things without any answers. If I'm speaking to obviously one person, like we're going back and forth. I want to make sure you guys like are taking in different things. Like, do you have any questions on this confidence part? Because if you really like get this confidence part down, like you're just gonna do everything so much better. Like anything you guys like are not doing at 100%, it's because you're not confident in it. Okay, that's literally what it is. Anything you'd be confident in, you would do. So that's really the case. So not at all. I'm hearing you. Okay, good. You're just just taking it in. Just taking it in. Last thing I'm gonna leave you guys with. Similar to a buildup of everything else I spoke with, but yeah, I mean, I speak on it a lot. I'm gonna use a different term. Pendulums. So there's a lot of mental pendulums, and truthfully, there's a lot of energetical pendulums. So pendulums keep you in a cycle. Pendulums get you out of momentum. Pendulums is whatever. Okay, it's basically just imagine you're trying to go straight, and then there's like things over here and over here kind of like knocking you over, right? So the best that you can avoid them and surf the wave, best that you'll get to the end. But the more you get affected by the pendulums, the more you're not going to pass a certain stage. And pendulums are natural everywhere. That's your environment, that's your thoughts, that's your beliefs, that's a bunch of stuff. That's even your goals can be a pendulum. Now, your goals are a positive pendulum. It's like pushing you. Yeah, it's like pushing you to the right place. But see, pendulums are two sides. It works like this. It's not just one side. So a more advanced way of explaining this to you guys, how can a goal be a negative pendulum though? Like 100%, it pushes you. If you're like, I'm going to make, 5K this month. Okay. The pendulum is going to, if you're at like 3, it's going to push you up to there. But then what happens when you get it? You forget there's another side to the pendulum. Now you're going to be, instead of focus on you focus on the thing so much that now it matters way more than your inputs. So you're going to slowly stop doing the inputs, and you're just going to get swung back down. Like you're good. Now you're comfortable. Right? This is why everybody says don't focus too much. Don't put too much importance on the actual money itself. Don't put too much importance on everything itself. Don't put have it like a game, but the actual focus is on your growth, because your growth is not the pendulum. Your growth is the actual thing itself. That's where you're riding, is yourself. Like what if you just focused on the inputs? Remember the last call or 2 calls ago, I think we did we reversed essentially our goals and we put them into process goals. That's what that is. Because the process goals, as long as you keep doing that, you might even surpass the goals. You keep on going. Like the process goals literally just means you're just gonna keep on growing, dude. I need to record a Notion thing, because I've done with a lot of people. I've built them a Notion list, basically making the system for like the non-negotiables for every day. And essentially what it looks like is 10 non-negotiables that they click off, and it's reverse engineering their goals. And it's basically, how do I make it inevitable that I'm at least growing? Obviously you won't all hit your goals, but you won't hit all of them, but it makes sure that you're growing way more than if you're not, and you're putting in the things and you're setting yourself up for the future, because it's all a lagging indicator. The work I'm putting in now, I'm going to see all this. I'm going to see all this in 3 months, and it's just going to look super good in 3 months. That's how it normally works. Okay. So that's how important it is to not be basic to focus. Because if you just keep on focusing on you and you keep on putting everything for 1 month later, okay, this thing you did today will help you in 2 months. This thing you did will help you in 3 months. And if you keep on going, and if that doesn't even matter, and you're just focusing on you just because you have to do all the reasons we talked about today, then when you actually get to that stage, the ball keeps getting pushed up. It just keeps on growing. But if you're oh yeah, this is good, I'll have this in 2 months, and then you end up waiting, and then you end up kind of focusing too much on that, then you stop. As soon as it slows down, yeah, you'll end up getting the things. But then once you get the things, you slow down your inputs, and then you're messing yourself up again for the future. Okay? So always focus on the inputs. Always focus on what you're doing. And let's have you guys, this week really just give it your max. And some of the things you give your max to you're going to see right away. But some of the things you guys are going to give your max to, you won't see it now. And do not be affected by it. This guy, probably one of the most crazy stories. Last kind of example. This guy on Instagram, some of you guys might know him. I started following him like 5 years after he came out of prison. And essentially he was in prison. He came out with like $200. And then 5 years later, he has like Bugatti. He has like, he basically makes like $3 million a month, and he changes people's lives. And he's just like a beast. Like he lives life at an extremely high level. And obviously like first year in, like he went from like $200 to like $200,000 a month. Now, obviously that's a crazy story. Like not everybody can do that, even if they follow what he does. But that's what you want to learn. So I'm at a seminar and at an event, and essentially like a year ago, like he really like look at some of his more old stuff. Like there was a reason why he just like hacked some code, why he just like hacked reality. It's because he plays on a higher level. Everything I talked about today, like this extra spiritual stuff, like that's what he lives on. That's the stuff he talked about. Like his whole goal every single day is just to get to the highest frequency possible and act on that, and then everything falls into place. Like literally just that, the most simple thing. And it works for him. But essentially, based on the input, he had a really good quote based on the input thing, which I was going to talk about. Overall, the point is like he simplified something like crazy, and it was about just doing the same non-negotiables every day will lead to the compound effect of basically everything you want, and everything will catch up to that. So the more you rely on pendulums, the less control you have. The more you rely on yourself, the maximum control you will have. Okay? And make sure you act on that initial thought I gave you, the initial example I gave you. Make sure you use it as, because let me tell you, the actual true thing, besides like, 50% chance, like what if this scenario happened? Like the actual true thing he said is like a real life version of that. So you guys better figure out your answer, because anything is possible, and you better make that right choice, because that's time inevitably moves. So depends how you treat that time. With maximum value, treat decades as in per year, or you just let the years fly. And you know what I mean? That's really that's really like probably one of the most valuable things you can comprehend right now. Okay, so have a blessed Wednesday. Having goals with time limits also makes you think that shout out Alexander, that you can slack off, feeling that you are going to achieve the goal instead of pursuing the goal relentlessly every day. Yeah, having goals with time limits are good, and I talked about it before. Like it makes you really act kind of towards it, but don't focus too much on the time limit, because if you start averaging out, like if you're like, I'm gonna hit this, then you allow yourself like the ounce of slipping a little bit more. So the only way that you actually overcome, the only way that you actually get that like unlimited energy momentum is if it's not even about that. If it's just about you, like if you know what I'm saying? So if you're chasing something, you'll always run slower than the person being chased. That's why the people who see themselves as the best in the world, they are the ones that are able to really accomplish amazing things, because there's nothing in they create like their own lane. You know what I'm saying? So be your own lane. Like really just, how can you be just the best for yourself? Like just love that. Like wake up tomorrow and just like love that.